like he took advantage of her, but she used it to launch her career. What do you think about situations like that?
I don't judge, man. I'm not. Who am I to judge? I don't know what her situation was at the moment. And you know something? If this guy's trying to bang you and then pays you money to shut up, and you take his money and then you still make a career, hey, you beat the game. Good for you. Maybe. I don't know. I was just recently reading something that was very interesting to me. Porn stars, porn actresses were saying now they're being lumped in with, with the bad guys, right? So certain people have said, making moral judgments on society. They're like, child molesters and woman beaters and porn stars. I'm like, wait a minute, no, porn stars don't belong in that same category. I know women who do adult work and have done adult work, and I've been around it. Some of the women are, there's definitely that portion that's messed up on drugs or whatever, and they're doing it. And there is, unfortunately, a white slavery element involved, the Eastern European women who
human trafficking.
Get trafficked in it. But there are also women who do it because they figured out, hey, I can make a lot of money doing this. They totally disconnect from the sex. That's the funniest part to them. Going to work and having sex is like, if I'm a comedy actor and I play a bouncer, right? I always joke I'm a bouncer. I play one on TV. I ain't beating nobody up in real life, but in TV, I'm going to stop you from getting in the club. So they look at it that way. When I go to work, I have sex with this guy or this woman, and then I come home and I live my life. Now, granted, it's not exactly the same as coming home from working at Denny's or Walmart, but they're like, my work, I'm not bad because I do this, and yet they're somehow looked down upon for doing it. And especially when you look at what actresses do, actresses can be super sexy and not have, you know what I mean? Just because they commit the act, are they bad? And I feel that's really unfair, to them. I mean, maybe it's not a choice you'd want your daughter to make, or your sister, or your wife. But if the women make this choice to do that, that doesn't make them bad women. And it's like that thing of, can you rape a prostitute? Like, you can. And it's, so it's fucked up. But it's, I don't know if your podcast is supposed to be clean, but now it's not.
Be yourself. Be yourself.
But it's, as a culture, it's changing. So people are being exposed to this and having to, and the thing that got me about it, and I think this really opened my eyes, because it's hard to see life through another person's eyes, right? We have millions of white people who say, well, racism's done. Right? Now, if you're black or if you're Latino or if you're an other, racism exists in America every day. Every day. But to certain white people, it's like, oh, it doesn't exist because they never deal with it, right?
Right.
So I was like that with certain issues of women. And a few years ago, there was a movement about this, and it was about women being attacked, raped, etc. And this woman wrote a thing that I read, and she said, men don't think about how to get home. Women have to think about that every day. Every time she has, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. Like I came here to do this podcast in the afternoon, right? It's daylight when I come here. It's going to be dark when I leave. So if I'm a single woman, I got to think about, where do I park? Is it going to be safe walking from here to my car? And so on. And it was like, that blew my mind, because I was like, that never occurred to me.
It makes perfect sense, because we're more concerned about, damn, it's cold out here. How long is it going to take me to get to my car? And if we run into another male, you might size him up just to make sure that there's nothing going on. But beyond that, you're not worried about getting raped, kidnapped, taken to another location, even murdered or something like that. So you're absolutely right. And I've never thought about that.
Well, one of my favorite jokes about it, Tammy Pescatelli, friend of mine and a hilarious comedian, she used to do a joke that she said she moved to L.A. and people said, was she scared of gangbangers? And I'm paraphrasing her joke, but she was like, no, I'm not scared. I'm scared, hillbilly. She said, gangbangers kill you, but hillbillies keep you.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is the nature of the beast. We're going to keep her around for a while.
Yeah, when they're going to keep you in a shed, that's something to be scared of. Yeah, so we're in a time where hopefully that culture is changing, but it's always going to exist.
Yeah, unfortunately, on some level, Speaking of sexual harassment, the president.
There's no. That's it's a wormhole. It's an unending. I'll tell you this about Donald Trump, and I do my share of jokes about Donald Trump and so on. But on a serious note, this is what America chose.
Right.
This is what America wanted. America was okay with him grabbing her by the pussy. America's okay with his behavior. You know why? Because they endorse it with a wink and a nod. There's a whole bunch of people who voted for Donald Trump who you don't think voted for Donald Trump, and they ain't going to tell you they voted for Donald Trump, but they absolutely endorse Donald Trump, and they endorse his sexism and his racism and this false idea of America first, meaning that America is first in a lot of ways, but America has flaws. Let's not act like we're perfect, and the fact that you have flaws is what allows you to get better, because you learn, I got to work on this and I got to work on it. But there's a lot of them, that whole Make America Great Again and that whole Make America White Again, there's a lot of them who endorse that quietly. So Donald Trump is an asshole. He's incompetent. He's ignorant, and he's unwilling to learn and unwilling to change. And that's a hell of a lot of America.
Right. Unfortunately. Do you think a lot of it is just because part of the reason he got voted in was because people didn't go to the polls because they figured it was going to be a landslide? Hillary's got this, voter apathy. Or do you think the Republicans made a conscious effort to get out there and do what they had to do to get this man into office?
No, I don't fully agree with that. There's always voter apathy, right? I just recently watched the interview that David Letterman did of Barack Obama, and Barack Obama talked about America has the fewest voters of any democracy because we take it for granted. Right. And so many other countries have fought for the vote and have it more recently, so they're much more involved in their democracy. But the Republicans are better at winning elections than the Democrats. Okay. Republicans train their one-issue voters, so they have this whole population that believes if you elect a Democrat, they're coming to take your guns. They have another big block of voters that they're out to kill babies, right? This is a simple, ignorant message, untrue message, but simple, and it gets people to vote. The two things that surprised me: Hillary's campaign took it for granted. That was a big mistake. They didn't campaign in places they should have. But there was also the women who wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I was surprised how many women wouldn't vote for another woman.
That caught me off
and
guard too.
The Bernie supporters, those were the dumbest ones, because they were like, we can't have Bernie, so we're not voting for Hillary. It's like, really? Then you're going to lose the Supreme Court and you're going to lose the judges. To me, that's the biggest thing that we lose on, because these judges are appointed for life, and some of these judges, as being proven in these confirmation hearings, horrible, incompetent people. Right. And they're going to be federal judges for life. And you know something? And again, it's like a computer, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Like, hey, you let this shit happen because you didn't want Hillary, because Hillary's husband fucked around on her, or because you were upset that Bernie didn't get it. You know what? This is politics. Guess what? It wasn't Bernie's turn. Right. It was Hillary's turn. When Barack Obama won in 2008, part of the deal in the Democratic Party was, Hillary, you're next. You get it in 2016. They make these deals, and Bernie wasn't part. And they should have went to Bernie and said, listen, Bernie, we, like they did with Hillary when Barack Obama's people said, you're going to be Secretary of State. Get in line. Right. And somebody should have went to Bernie and said, Bernie, you're going to be whatever it is, Secretary of State or White House Chief of Staff or whatever position. You're going to be a policymaker in this administration. Get your people on board. Let's get in the White House. And nobody did that. So the Democrats once again lost from the front. They did the same thing. I don't know how old you are. Same thing happened with Al Gore. Right. Had it locked up, lost from the front. Right.
No, I'll be 50 in
a couple of months. So you're old enough to remember that.
Yeah. So I remember all of that, man. I remember one of my first vivid memories was funny. Nixon walking to the helicopter, giving up the peace sign, and he was out of there. That's one of the first.
That was when the media had teeth. I have more beef with the media than any politician. The media brought down Watergate. Yeah. And it wouldn't have happened today. Right. It wouldn't happen today.
Woodward and Bernstein.
Yeah. They used to, this is the example I use. I remember there was a time when 60 Minutes, if they knocked on your door, your ass ran out like they had a camera crew at the back door to catch you running. Because when 60 Minutes came, they got your ass. Now 60 Minutes comes, they're like, oh yeah, come on in, have a seat. Like bullshit.
Right.
Where are I want the angry reporters again. Adam Carolla, buddy of mine, I love doing his show, his podcast. If you're listening, check, and you haven't, you got to listen to Adam. Adam told me, he said, man, back in the old days, they had that old white guy who would smoke cigarettes and blow smoke in your face and ask tough-ass questions.
Edward R. Murrow.
And you, there was none of that, no comment or any. They were like, yeah, on this date, you said this, and now you're saying that. Well, you're lying. So what's the deal? Like, they would hit you straight up,
I remember seeing an old video of Edward R. Murrow interviewing McCarthy during the height of the McCarthy hearings when he was a powerful man.
Yeah.
And this man was on TV sweating. You could see him. His hair was dangling down in front. The Brill cream wasn't working. And he's just stuttering and, the whole 9 yards. And it was because back then, like you said, they got in their face. They asked him the questions. They didn't let everything slide.
I used to do a joke that, Walter Cronkite, if Walter Cronkite had to interview Sarah Palin, it would have been the quickest interview you ever heard. That bitch, read a book. That would have been he wouldn't have tolerated her. He wouldn't have tolerated. It would be like, this is a disrespectful. I'm not going to talk to you. You have no knowledge of national issues, and he wouldn't. But now we have these reporters, and you watch. It doesn't matter what you watch, CNN or Fox. It's 5 people with the same opinion sitting in a circle asking each other questions. You're like, what the hell is this?
Right.
What the hell? None of you are saying anything new. Yeah, Fox News makes up more. Fox News lies. They do. They lie more. But CNN isn't great. CNN isn't this independent thing that we want it to be. Once in a while you get that reporter who's going to get in someone's face, but for the most part, they're not doing it, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Right. No, CNN has recently turned into the hate Trump show. It's, like you said.
Right, because that's where the ratings are, because they're in it for the ratings.
Right. 2 or 3 hours I'm sitting there listening to Anderson Cooper, and like you said, they'll have 5 Democrats, and they'll have poor Paris, what's his name, on there, the one brother that's a Republican, and they'll berate him for like an entire 30 minutes. And he just takes it night after night after night.
Any black Republican deserves whatever they get. The hell is wrong with you? Honestly, I mean, if you endorse a party that is so blatantly pro-racist, when you have the Klan and all these white hate groups supporting this party, and you sit up there and then you deserve the ass whipping you get. What the hell? Michael Steele found. The thing is, and this is common knowledge in the black community. One day you're gonna find out your ass is black.
Right.
You think you're in. Clarence Thomas thought he was in. Omarosa thought she was in.
Right.
I can't say I know Omarosa well, but I know her. We've encountered each other and talked and this and that. She is a very intelligent, savvy woman. She is in it for Omarosa. She ain't in it for anything else. She's like, love me or hate me, just spell my name right. She's one of those people. But that whole thing of endorsing Trump, look, I lost respect for Tiger. I was the biggest Tiger Woods fan. I love Tiger. When Tiger played golf with Donald Trump, I completely lost respect for him.
So you shouldn't have been out there hanging out with him.
No, what the hell? What the hell's wrong with you?
Right, I got you.
And especially if you're Tiger Woods, Trump wants to play with you. It's not like, in a situation where you want to play with the president. In this situation, you're the one who's more important.
Right. He wants to make it look like you're cool with the brothers and all the rest of that kind of. Like in that one statement, he was, what do you say? Oh, look at my African American over here. Well, look at my African American.
If you watch the State of the Union, and at some point this interview was supposed to be about me, but that's gone out the window. But if you watch the State of the Union, you saw he pulled out a black guy, then he pulled out a woman, then he pulled out a Korean guy, then he pulled out a Latino guy. Like it was literally staged. I'm going to get one of each. It was so obvious and so ridiculous. But what are you going to do?
Yeah. Now, where did you get your sensibilities from? I mean, you grew up in New York, right?
Yeah, I grew up in part of Southeast Queens, St. Albans. It's in Jamaica, Queens. Working class black neighborhood.
Right.
I didn't know it was the hood until Fitty mentioned it in a song. And I was like, oh, shit, I grew up in the hood. I didn't even know because we had a lawn. We had a backyard. We had a 2-car garage, and there were 2 cars in it. I did not know I was in the hood. I'll be damned.